Get ready, folks. You're about to see Nick have some hot fire in this one. Hot takes coming.
3, 2, 1, bro.
What's up, everybody? I'm Nick.
I'm Mike.
This is Rapid Reviews, where we talk about every game we played in the last month. And this one's a little bit later because we have a little thing called a giant marathon in the middle of it.
We've been playing games too much to talk about them.
Now, if you're curious, this is not going to be the review of all the games in the marathon because we played the vast majority of those in December, not in November. This is a review for everything in November.
Up to the start of the marathon, which was on the 30th of November, but we're going to do a whole video about just the marathon and then everything else in December soon, but not
November
yet.
30th. This is going to be, the crazy thing is, this is going to be like 36 games shorter.
Yeah. Literally, yeah. It's already 50 games.
This is everything we played in November up until the marathon, which was the last day of November.
Do us a favor. Watch that marathon video, and you can see us play all the games, and then next month we'll talk about what we thought of them, because people have been asking, hey, how much of that did you hate? Well, you're going to have to wait to find out.
You have to wait to find out.
But right now we're talking about November, like you said. So we played 50 games, different games between the two of us over the month of November, which is pretty busy.
Now, a lot of that is because we were practicing for the marathon, so we were speed playing games during. So there was like certain streams where we played like 5 games in 2 hours because we were speed playing.
Pumped the numbers a little bit.
We played them and loved them.
Yeah. So one thing that we played was Calico. I played this with my fiance when we were on a little road trip together.
That's right.
And it's just a fantastic hurt your brain tile laying game where you are building a quilt to hopefully attract cats and attract those ever elusive buttons. They're very shy, those buttons.
They
like colors though. And so on your turn, all you do is place in a tile out and trying to match colors and patterns in such a way where sort of you're always getting in your own way, and it's just brutal, but I really like Calico.
I really like Calico. It's so simple, so brutal, gorgeous, easy. It's got kittens. It's great.
It's
Calico's
fantastic.
wonderful.
Do wonderful. Do check it out. One of my favorite games.
Yeah, if you like puzzle games, check out Calico.
Really good.
Played Marco Polo 2 in the service of the con. Did you play this one?
I played this one in November, and then I think you've played it maybe since then. But we both
I played it, as well. So
I played it in November for certain. Okay. Well, if Nick did, then he says he did. I know I did.
Yeah, I know I did because I played it with Amanda on her stream.
So this is the sort of sequel, sort of redux of the Voyages of Marco Polo.
Yeah, but it's not like a 2.0 where it's like better. It's just
it is honestly a different game.
It is. It's like 50% different, which is fine, you know? And it's like, I like it a lot. So Marco Polo is a game where you are rolling around.
We actually played both versions in November. Yeah. We both played Voyages and Marco
so we'll get
Polo
to talk
too.
about them both, which will be great. But basically, you're traveling around, and it's just a Euro game. But the cool thing about Marco Polo is everyone gets...
just a dumb player power.
Just a super
really
OP player
OP.
power. But everyone has one, which is super interesting. And the Marco Polo 2, probably now I'm confusing in my head.
Marco Polo 2, you're cruising around doing things. You're basically, it's all dice placement. You roll out dice, and then the values of the dice will kind of dictate certain things about what you can do. And you're putting dice out onto different action spaces to get resources like camels, and you're getting pepper and pants and gold and stuff. And there's jade in the Marco Polo 2, which is also very useful. And you're trying to use those camels and everything to move around to different cities, kind of set up shop and stuff, which might give you the ability to have different worker placement spots that only you can go to. They might give you boons that come every round, kind of a little bonus action or bonus resources or whatever it might be. And so you're doing a bunch of things. So Marco Polo 2 adds... in Marco Polo, the first one, you kind of have a secret objective to try to get to 2 different cities.
Yes.
And here, it's sort of more loosey-goosey, where you kind of want to get to different cities that have different emblems, different shields on them. So it's sort of a set collection in a way. And then you'll have different guilds that you want to try to join. So it's very similar, but it's kind of a little bit different.
It's like the same.
It's a little easier to achieve.
It is and it's not. It's weird because a lot of people say it's like, it's a lot easier than Marco Polo. It's not. It's just different.
It's just different.
But it is very similar to Marco Polo in a lot of ways. So the thing is, if you like Marco Polo, you'll probably like Marco Polo 2 and vice versa.
Yeah.
If you don't like Marco Polo 2 isn't going to change your mind. But I really like both. And so Marco Polo 2 is great. And we'll talk about Marco Polo in a little bit. Yeah.
What else we got?
We played just one of the most banger games. Is Raj of the Ganges, the Dice Charmer. This is the roll and write version of Raj of the Ganges.
It's really good.
And it is so freaking good.
I got so excited when I heard the announcement about this. I was like, oh my God, get into my lap now.
Yes, exactly. And it's wonderful. It's incredible. It's It feels a lot like Voyages of the Ganges, but is a very different game. Voyages of the Ganges is a game, it's a kind of a racing game where you're going up these 2 tracks, a money track and a fame track, and you're trying to cross them. Once you cross them, you finish out that round, and whoever crossed them the most wins. So it's kind of a racing game.
Yeah.
And the Dice Charmers, the dice game, is very much like that. And there's a lot of things. There's like a river you can go up in the main game. There's a river you can go up in this one.
Basically, every element in Voyages of the Ganges is present in this version.
But it's done differently. And really what it comes down to is like the dice placement, the dice drafting is super interesting and just simple but great. But really what it comes down to is what we love in board games in general, but especially roll rights, is combos. It's all combos. You do this. Oh, I'm gonna take this path over here. Oh, that lets you do this, so I can sell these 2 goods. Ooh, that now lets me do this.
I can move down the river, which gives me this thing.
Oh, now I can do, and it just goes on and on.
At some point, you're gonna pull off a huge move.
And it's so, if you like Voyages of the Ganges, if you like roll rights, you have to check it out. It's incredible.
It's incredibly satisfying. So good. A game I played on Tabletop Simulator that was on Kickstarter, is Endless Winter Paleoamericans. Which was a super cool game. It's a kind of a worker placement game where it's set in kind of caveman times, or when you run around with mammoths and stuff, and so you're like slightly built up. And you're going around and doing just a few different things. There's kind of it's kind of got like a little bit of everything, which is interesting. There's this kind of board where you're moving kind of tents out, and there's a bit of area majority there, which will give you bonuses every round during like the eclipse. You can go hunting for animals, and it's kind of a set collection thing where you want to get sets of these different animals, or you can eat one animal that you collect to get food, which you can use to power up your action. So you're going to go use a worker, plop them down on a spot, and then you use these cards, which will give you different icons and things to kind of dictate how many times you can make use of that action. If it's getting cards, if it's moving things, I can get all these points of movements if I play the right cards out. So there's some deck building as well. So it's one of those, this is kind of a common thing this year, is worker placement deck building combo games.
Which is a great
combo. This is one of those.
Good combo.
It is a good combo. And this one was really fun. I'd be really curious, because it was on Kickstarter and there's all these expansions for it. I'd be really curious to try it again with some of those expansion elements, because they're sort of modular, smaller expansions. And I feel like the base game, which I really enjoyed, it's like, I don't know how much legs the base game itself has, but there are all these other little things you can like, oh, you can try this mode, or you can add this little thing on, and it's built to kind of start picking and choosing bits to add on from the start. I really enjoyed it though. It's got art by the Miko now.
Oh,
Mihalo Dimitrievski's got a whole crew now.
Oh, is
the
that
Miko.
right?
So it's a Mihalo.
He's been very successful. So.
Yeah, game. Looks really cool. Love the style. Really fun game. I want to play it more with.
You also played Istanbul.
I did. I played Istanbul on the phone.
Got a little block of Mikey right
got
here.
I've got a little app and played some Istanbul for the first time in a while, which is I really enjoyed that game. I would be interested to grab it sometime. So in that one, you're moving your little stack of workers around, and you can either go to a space and drop off one of your little discs to make use of that action, or on a future turn, you can move your little stack to a place you have another one of your workers present that was dropped off earlier and pick up that worker. And you're just going around trying to get resources and stuff, and ultimately to trade in to get these rubies, and the first one to 5 rubies wins. And so it's just an interesting game of like, you're kind of managing your stack of workers. Because if you ever run out, it's not great because you have to kind of recollect everybody. So you kind of want to build like a path where you can go out to this spot, then go out to here, then kind of work backward and recollect your people. So you kind of always have people to use so that you can kind of stretch as long as you can and just get that money, get these rubies and stuff. Really cool game. I like it. It's got a good app.
Istanbul. You also played Kingdom Builder.
I did play Kingdom Builder.
The Dave Luza Classic.
The Dave Luza Classic. Played it with Nate and Crook. Played it on Kingdom Builder on Board Game Arena, and it was super cool.
Yeah.
It's a game that's like,
I like Kingdom Builder.
It's one that like you play it and you're like, I see why this is such a classic game, because it's so simple. It's like, just put 3 things out on a turn, and like depending on the scoring cards you have in that game, you're going to want to have all of your little houses set up in a certain way. And there's all sorts of adjacency rules where if you flip over a card for your next turn, it's like, I have to build in the desert. And if I don't have anything in the desert or next to a desert, I can put my little house anywhere. But once I have something set up in a desert adjacent, I have to build out from something else I have. So you kind of are trying to build out in different ways. And we played 2 games back to back, where in one, we wanted all of our settlements and stuff in a line, all connected.
Yeah.
And then the other one, you wanted to have as many groups of disconnected, separate. Yeah. And I was like, see, that's why this game is cool, because from one game to the next,
the scoring is making
you have way different strategy.
Yeah.
But it's a super duper simple game. So Kingdom Builder rips.
Hey man.
So hard.
Yeah, super down. We probably should talk about it. Last time we talked about it, that's Raj the Ganges we played next.
Played the base game, the actual Rajas.
But this time we played with all the goodies.
Yeah.
Because we got it, we ordered it after Essen, the new
Goodie Box
Goodie
2.
Box expansion. So Raj the Ganges doesn't have any big expansions, but it has a bunch of really tiny expansions.
Micro modular.
They're almost like little promo expansions.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
But they come in these little goodie boxes. There's been 2, and they're always great. They're just
like, hey, it's these 4 tiles, and they're like a mango farm, and you're like, oh, that's cool.
Now you have this one special worker that's kind of like a grande worker. Where you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. And it's just like you can play with all of them or none of them or some of them. None of them change anything drastically, but it's like they're all cool. And so we got the goodie box, which means we're like obviously going to play this. And so we played it. And Raj the Ganges is great. Check out our top 100 games of all time. Actually, check out some of the higher ones because it is very high on both of our lists.
up there on the list.
Yeah,
you don't need to check the 90 to 100. That's all we'll say.
You can probably check the.
You can watch that for other games.
Check the 10 to 1 or so. Yeah. Raj the Ganges is incredible. We absolutely love it. It's just great.
It's so good. We also played some Rush MD because we were getting ready for this marathon. We're like, you know what gets the heart pumping, gets the blood flowing? It's a little Rush MD.
We played this during TLN.
Yeah. So we did this during our first Tabletop Live Network day, which is a day that we have where we get a bunch of different streamers together, and we basically go from one stream to the next, and we just raid. So we bring an audience, we just dump an audience on the next person, then dump an audience.
It's all scheduled and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's super duper fun. We've done one. We're doing another one New Year's Eve. So if you were free, watch Twitch that day. That's all I'll say. You'll see us everywhere.
We'll be on for like 18 hours. Not us personally, but someone will be on for the entire about 18 hours or so. It's going to be great.
Yeah. It's going to be super duper cool. So we played some Rush MD because we're like, you know what? It's always hectic and silly and fun. Rush MD is crazy fun. It's just a really fun time. And like, you have to be smart, but it's also doesn't ever take itself too seriously. It really threads the needle well.
And it's like Kitchen Rush, which is kind of like the prequel to this. I liked a lot, but like, I love the concept of Kitchen Rush, but the game itself I had definitely some issues with. It was definitely fun to play on stream because it's so crazy.
It's a little harder than it needed to be.
Has all that same stuff, all the craziness, but I honestly think it's a really good game underneath it, which I think Kitchen Rush wasn't as good a game underneath it, but Rush MD is a game that I'm just like, I'm just down to play Rush MD. Yeah. Like, it's just so good. It's just really, really fun. I love some Rush MD,
Yeah. We also played some base game Unmatched as a speed play, which of course we love Unmatched, but then we also got to play some new Unmatched, specifically the Buffy the Vampire Slayer set. Yeah. We played 2 games back to back so we could try out all 4 characters. In this one you've got Buffy, you've got Willow, you've got Spike, and you've got Angel. And they all have sidekicks and stuff. And it was super duper fun. I love the look of the boards. It's very kind of colorful and the art on the cards and stuff is just rad. It just seems very fun and Buffy-ish, and the tone that they achieve with that, it's like really cool. As always with Unmatched, I just love getting more and more stuff. I mean, there's almost nothing more fun than when you first get a new set and you get to first just look through all the cards and the art and stuff. It's really become this kind of beautiful collection at this point.
I think at this point, in terms of art, it's probably the best game.
I think so too.
In terms of overall, I mean,
and like
what could be Unmatched in terms of art?
I don't know. And the thing about it is like it kind of has an unfair advantage. Like you're always expanding it. You can include different artists who all bring their take to it. And I'm like, there's not going to be another game that can do that way. And I'm like, and everything they've come out with, I'm like, this is some of the best art standalone. And you look at it as a collection Unmatched, it's probably the best artistic endeavor in board games.
But the Buffy set's super fun too. It's just fun. And again, it's like it's anachronistic where you can just grab any hero from any set, play them on any board, which is the brilliant part about Unmatched. You just grab a board, grab any 2 heroes, and boom, you can play. Yeah. And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, we've been very busy, obviously, with the marathons. We haven't had a chance to play. We actually just got the next set, the Beowulf and Little Red set. Haven't had a chance to play it as of recording this. And it's like, man, like now I want to take Buffy and have Buffy go against Dracula. And they go against Raptors and have Willow versus Sinbad. And it's just like, it's just all sorts of all this. Oh, man. I just want an entire day where you're just playing all these different mashups. It'll be great.
So good.
But Unmatched, Buffy, or Unmatched in general, just...
Nick, what do you think about Viticulture? Probably hate it.
Probably the greatest game ever made. Spoilers. Yeah. Viticulture's the greatest game ever made. It is. It's Fair enough. Viticulture is... It's the best. It's my favorite game. Spoilers. It's my favorite game. It's a game about running a vineyard. It's a worker placement game but again, it's I've said it multiple times. It's exactly what I like in a lot of worker placement games where it's very, very linear, where it's you're getting grapes, you're planting those grapes, they're going into vines, and you have to harvest those vines, you have to squish those vines into juice, and then you have to make that juice into wine, you have to age that wine, and so you can fulfill this one wine order. And
you can see your path.
Yes, and I like that. I think that's very helpful. And there's a lot of worker placement games like Feast for Odin, which are just 100% open, and I like that as well. But it's just, I really like ones with a set, like I need to get to here, and I'm gonna go dot, 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 boom, to get here. I really, really like that, and Viticulture is one of the best games for that.
Yeah.
I just love it. It's my favorite game.
It's really good. I figured you'd have something to say. I think it's total crap. No, it's great.
I think it's
fantastic.
garbage.
It's fantastic. We've even recently played just base game Viticulture.
It's still great.
And you know what? It's still great.
It's still great. At the same time, I was like,
yeah, you gotta have Tuscany. But it is good. But it is good.
Yeah, it is great though. But it is great.
So like we said, we played Marco Polo 2 in the service of the con. We also played the Voyages of Marco Polo, which is the first game to do that, which is, as we kind of talked about, very similar. You're putting these dice in places to get resources to hopefully turn in. A lot of it's just coming down to fulfilling contracts is what you want to do. That's going to be your biggest hit of points is fulfilling those contracts.
You won that game because you were just crushing contracts.
All contracts all day. But it's tough because everything in is so expensive. Resources are tight, and if someone goes to an action space, I can still go there. But if I do, I have to pay money, and the money I pay is based on the value of die that I put there. And generally, the higher the die, the better. But do I have $6 to pay just to make use? Probably not. So it's really brutal in a beautiful way. But Voyages of Marco Polo and Marco Polo 2 are both on Board Game Arena. They work really well.
They really work well.
You can play it quickly.
Try them. They're great.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. Board Game Arena is super cool because you can highlight anything and it tells you what that card means. So literally, I played Marco Polo 2 just by playing it and learned the game because I was able to get enough information and check some rules in the book, and we were ready to go.
Yeah.
But Voyage Marco Polo is really great. I like both. Again, the question is always like, do you need one? Do you need the other? Is there room enough for both? I think so. I think they're different enough games that you could justify having both in your collection. But, of course, that's decisions to make. And like you said, if you like Marco Polo, you'll probably like number 2. If you don't, you probably won't like the other one because they're similar enough. But both really cool.
Seven Wonders Duel is a great 2-player game.
I've lost all hope in ever winning it again, but I enjoy my plays of it. Did I?
Yeah, you did. It was one of the first games we played.
But it was unfair. So the only advantage was that we didn't have time to think. During that, you still almost, spoiler alert, pulled off a science victory against me.
Well,
so
spoiler,
like
it's in time-lapse force. People can see that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's what was going on. I
still
almost lost the science.
We're not talking about that play, but nonetheless, Seven Wonders Duel is great. It's a game that I always think that I don't like until I play it again. And I'm always like, no, I do like this game. I don't like it as much as everyone else likes it, for sure.
Yeah,
but
which is fine.
I do like it more than it's just one of those games where I'm always like, I don't like this game. Then I play it, I'm like, no, you do. Why do you keep thinking you don't like this game? And I don't know, it's just that weird thing, but I do like it.
We got to try Pantheon. We got to get the expansion. I'm really curious.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe we'll hate it. I don't know, but we'll never know until we try it.
That's true. I want to try it.
Gotta do it. Seven Wonders Duel is amazing. It's incredible. Burn Seven Wonders, obviously. Don't do that. Play Seven Wonders Duel instead with your best friend.
It's true.
Or play it yourself, and you can be like the guy in the Pixar short. You play against yourself.
Oh, that's
with 2 different
still one of the
personalities.
best Pixar shorts ever. Still one of the best ever.
Nick, you've been playing through some Gloomhaven Jaws of the
This is going to show up probably in the next number of rap reviews, as it has shown up in the previous rapid reviews, because me and my roommate David are playing through it. Me and Tall David, I'm playing the Red Guard. He's playing the Void Warden, just in case you're curious. It's really great. It's Gloomhaven. It's not different than Gloomhaven. It's the exact same game. It's just different roles, and it has a book instead. But here's the thing. Gloomhaven is incredible. So Jaws Lion is incredible. It's, really good. It's great. It's wonderful. We're having a great time playing through it. I won't talk about anything that's happening just in case anyone doesn't want spoilers. But it's super cool. It's tough. The story is interesting. There's times where it's like, hey, you have 2 choices, and you go here. Oh, now that place is shut down, so you can't ever go there. So
I love that.
So part of it's like, oh, what was that other one? What would happen over there? What would we have fought over there? It's just super cool and clever. And there's just like, there was one we played recently where I was like, I guess this is a bit of a spoiler, but not really. But it's just, there was like, we were at this place and they like set up a bunch of traps everywhere. Cool. But like, it was just so, I was like, this is so cool and clever the way it's just, Gloomhaven is a marvel. It's great. Yeah. Jaws Lion, it's still great. It's still wonderful. We're getting up there in levels. Both of our people, level up relatively quickly, and so it's I think we're on like level 6. We're starting to get pretty beefy. Yeah, it's real fun though. Jaws Lion, it's great. Gloomhaven's great.
That is awesome. Ooh. The same kind of game as Abandoned All Artichokes.
Same game, basically.
It's basically the same game. Abandoned All Artichokes is a deck wrecker game, which they say, and I think is just adorable, so I say it every time. It's a deck building game where you're trying to get rid of certain cards from your deck, namely artichokes. You want to abandon all artichokes. I guess they're just too delicious, and you want to set them free so you don't eat them or something. Artichokes are amazing.
Again, see, to this day, I like artichokes. I don't like artichoke hearts. It's too much choke. It's too much choke.
Maximum choke.
Hashtag too much chokes in the chat.
Maximum choke, dude.
I don't want
it's
that
the best
choke.
part of the choke me daddy, as I say.
On the leaves.
Yeah, but then you just eat the whole thing.
Nah.
Yeah. Anyway, Abandoned All Artichokes.
Real talk, Mikey, I haven't had an artichoke in probably 10 years.
Dude, I've had so many this year. I realized, I don't know. I
thought you can cook your pressure cooker in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, but also my head thought like, man, this is luxury goods. And they are not, they're more expensive than they should be. Yeah. You know, but like,
I don't think I've had
they're
one since I've lived in LA.
that expensive. And I'm like, yeah. So like, I had this grow up moment where I was just like, I'm an adult. I can get artichokes right now. I don't need my mom to buy me artichokes.
It took him 33 years. He's like, I can get artichokes if I want.
I get my own artichokes.
I
and
can
then
watch
I
TV
did.
until midnight.
And I was like at Trader Joe's, I'm like, are they allowing me to do this? I'm getting some artichokes right now. I can get some Speckaloos ice cream if I want to. I'm a grown man. And then we got them, and I've eaten a bunch. Artichokes are amazing. Abandoned All Artichokes also is a really cool game. Hey. We're trying to get rid of those pesky artichokes through these different vegetable cards. It's adorable. It's sweet. It's great. It's fun. It's quick. It's really good.
It's really
good, like it. Abandoned All Artichokes.
We played Abyss. This is one of the games we kind of speed played.
Speed test.
During our prep for the marathon, which again, you should go watch if you haven't watched already. But so we played Abyss. We played Abyss in like 16 minutes. It was very, very fast.
Yeah.
But Abyss is a great game, which is kind of a set collection game mostly, is you are in this underwater world, but instead of big fighty world, it's kind of like a big political world. And you're essentially collecting favor, more or less, from these different factions. And you're turning in those, which are cards, you're turning in those cards to get lords. The lords essentially have influence points, which is your points, basically. Yeah. And then almost all lords have some kind of special ability they'll give you, or it can like mess with other people. You can get these locations, will give you more points. But it's basically kind of a pretty light set collection game in one of the most gorgeous worlds. It's just so beautiful. Cool. We usually almost always play with the Leviathan expansion. We didn't because we're, again, speed playing it.
Smooth it out a little.
And for our marathon, we're only playing base games. Yeah. And so, which is kind of an issue because it turns out we threw away part of the base game because we're like, we'll never use this again. Board? And it turns out we needed that monster board. So someone in the chat had like a picture up and they were just like telling us which part was
you can get 2 pearls. And we're like, okay.
Yeah. But nonetheless, Abyss is amazing. I still love it. It's really light, good. It's quick, it's gorgeous. Yeah. It's really, really good. It's
really fantastic. So we also got a chance to play Alhambra. I did on Board Game Arena again.
Classic Queen games. Yeah.
It is. And Alhambra is great. I think it's really simple. It's a simple tile laying game. You have basically cards on your turn. You can get money, and there's 4 tiles available at any time. But each tile will basically be associated with a certain currency. There's, you're in Alhambra. It's a big town. There's lots of folks from different places. They only want to take money that they know. So if you want this tile in this 3rd column or whatever it is, you'll need to pay with blue money. I don't remember what the actual order is, but you have to pay the right type of currency with those cards for the right types of tiles. And you're trying to ultimately build out your town so that you have the majority of each color tile. There's like 6 different colors of tile or something like that. So if you have the most of the purple, you'll get X amount of points. And then 2nd and 3rd will score later in the game if they have a few. So you're trying to get these majorities of certain types of tiles, and then also a lot of the tiles will have wall segments. You're trying to build a super long wall. And that's like literally it. It's like either you can get some money on a turn, you can spend some money on a turn. If you pay an exact change, you get a bonus action, which is like the funnest bit. You're like, ooh, if I pay an exact change for this, I can get more money for my next turn, or I can buy 2 tiles this turn, or I can buy 3 tiles, or even if you somehow work out, you can buy all 4 available tiles in one turn because you're paying an exact change. So it becomes really fun of like, I don't want to overpay for this because I want that bonus action. But that's like literally all that is in the game. It's that simple. I watched when I first played this, I watched Tabletop did it, Will Wheaton and stuff. I watched for like 4 minutes. It's like, I see how this game's played, let's go, because it's that simple. Super duper fun, works really well on Board Game Arena because they don't let you make mistakes. It's one of the best things about Board Game Arena.
It is nice for
If
that
you
reason.
can't do it, it won't let you. And so you actually learn games better because you can't make mistakes.
Yeah, it's really very, very nice in that way.
Alhambra is really fun.
You played Bonfire?
Yeah.
You should play Bonfire.
Playing on Tabletopia, man.
I didn't know you played Bonfire.
Yeah,
how is it?
Really good. Stefan Feld knows how to design a game. Who knew?
I didn't know anybody played Bonfire.
Bonfire is real cool. Bonfire is the new Stefan Feld hotness.
It's got gnomes and stuff. It's
got gnomes, your little dwarf things and stuff, and the theme is, I tell you what, it's integrated.
Yeah, really?
No.
Yeah, no.
But it's nice. It's a nice looking world and stuff. It's actually a really pretty game. I actually like it a lot. So in Bonfire, you're turning these action tiles to make use of its associated action. There's like 6 or something different actions you can take. And if you turn in a tile, you get to do that action. And those are going to be moving your little ship around to different islands to basically pick up contracts. You can build out these pathways around this like really sweet player board. You have this kind of like semicircle player board, and around the outside of it you can build these pathways that you can then attract guardians and have them walk down the pathways, and then if you fulfill contracts and turn them into bonfires and then build portals, you can have them go to the bonfire and like worship and stuff like that. And so all these different ways are basically, if you do this thing you're gonna get this points, if you do this thing you're gonna get those points and stuff. But it was a really cool game because you are trying to stretch out these action tiles as long as you can and sort of sequence different, you try to have different sequences of turns and stretch as much as you can, because on your little player board, you have these like little fate stick things that will have like 3 different icons, and they will give you more action tiles. So eventually you're going to run out.
Yeah.
And if you put them into your little player board, you can put them in such a way that you have a bunch of the same type of action tile connecting. You'll get a dump of those things. So you're trying to like do stuff as efficiently as you can. But it was a really cool game. I really enjoyed the look of it. I thought it was really cool. It was very mechanical and everything like you'd expect, but it was satisfying. It was a really fun way that you turn those action tiles. That was great. And then one cool thing is you can actually get these like player powers. You can recruit these the kind of gnomes or dwarves or whatever they are to kind of work for you, and they give you really powerful effects.
Really?
Like kind of semi-broken powerful effects. You got to go and recruit them, but you get this thing and all of a sudden this action is very powerful or very cheap for you to do. So that was really interesting. I really want to play it again. And for a Stefan Feld game, this one looks really great.
That's
the player board that you actually build actually like kind of connects in almost puzzle style. It's very satisfying. Really cool game. Really enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. Yeah, I really want to play it again.
Awesome. Yeah, I really want to try. I didn't know you tried it. That's awesome.
So good.
That was one of the games from Essen that I was most looking forward to trying.
Yeah.
Then we played Cacao. Cacao's another game we speed played. Praise be to Phil Walker Harding. Praise be, baby.
Praise be, my sir.
Praise be to Phil Walker Harding, because praise be's down in chat, please. Cacao is a simple tile laying game where you are basically laying out tiles in the jungle, trying to collect cacao, and then trying to sell that cacao at markets.
Trying to get dumb loot.
Trying to get dumb loot. But it's got this really cool checkerboard pattern where there are a bunch of jungle tiles out, and you have like, it's kind of like worker placement tiles. Yeah. You have a tile, it'll have 4 workers on it, made up in some interesting way. So it could be like 1 on each side, or 3 on one side and 1 on the other. And basically you put it next to a jungle tile, and then however many workers are connected to that jungle tile, that's how many times you get to activate that tile.
Right.
And then it's very, very cool because then you put it there, but again, you can never put worker tiles next to each other. So basically, whenever you have a worker tile here and a worker tile here, and there's a gap between them, you then have to fill in that spot with a jungle tile. So it makes this checkerboard pattern. But it's very, very cool because you can put a worker here, and then Mike will go over here, and then Karen will go over here, and Mary will go over here, and da-da-da. And then eventually someone puts a spot here, and they have to fill that in. And then you fill that in, but if you have a worker that then touches that tile, you then get to activate it.
You kind of like
so it's
delayed,
super cool. Yeah, it's like you can kind of set yourself up for later. Being like, okay, I'm gonna put 2 here, and there's 2 facing this way, and then later on, I'm gonna try and put something here, and then put something in here to activate. And it's just very, very simple, but it's praise be, Phil Walker Harding. It's a great
knows
family
how to
weight
make
game,
an accessible game,
as he always does.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Phil Walker Harding, praise be, Cacao.
Praise be. That's also on Board Game Arena now, newly.
Oh, is that right?
Check it out. There's a lot of stuff. They're cranking stuff out, dude.
Board Game Arena's coming up. They're like, hey, we're gonna take advantage of this whole situation.
Basically,
right?
We played Carpe Diem.
Another great.
Haven't played it in a while. Another great Stefan Feld game that looks like dumb bung, dude.
Yeah,
it's
dumb
real
bung.
ugh. And I saw like pictures of like the new thing, and I'm like, it's not better.
Is it really? God, of course it's
slightly more vibrant. But I was like, you didn't do enough.
Here's the thing, man. If they made Carpe Diem gorgeous,
and they could,
it's like hire Quan Chai once.
I tell you, the cover's a lot better.
Is
they
it?
improved that. They got rid of everything from the original cover. Ain't no semblance of that left. But it's otherwise. I'm like, the buildings. Here, I'll tell you this. We'll get to Carpe Diem. The buildings, you can tell them apart.
Good.
Now. That's really about the main change. Anyway, Carpe Diem's a great game that suffers from graphic design. We've mentioned that many times. It's really poorly executed, but it's a really cool game. Really simple game in a lot of ways, but also kind of tight.
And puzzly, yeah.
So what you're doing is you're moving a worker on a turn. You have this little worker that's bouncing around to different tile spaces, tile depots. Yeah, it's kind of makes this weird like pentagram star thing. So you can move around and hail Satan and stuff in the game. Super sweet. You're going to get a tile that you're going to then put into your little player board area. It's kind of Carcassonne style. You have to make the landscape make sense. You have things like villas, different types of buildings. You can build out kind of farms and stuff.
There's green buildings. There's brown buildings.
Yeah, and they give you bread and a bunch of Euro stuff.
There's maggot farms.
There's maggot farms that produce chickens somehow. There's grape farms.
Don't tell me about maggot farms. I don't care what it says.
Again, the design's poor. But it's a really fun game. And so you're trying to go to build out your little player area to gain different resources and stuff to ultimately make use of these different scoring opportunities that'll be in each game. There'll be 4 scoring rounds where you can put a disc in between 2 scoring cards. You have to score both those things if you can. If you can't, you have to lose some points.
Yeah.
So you're really trying to maximize like these scoring areas, because some are going to be dependent on what you have in your player board. Others are going to be things where you basically can pay a certain amount of specific resources for points and stuff. Super cool game.
I really love it. It
looks like hot garbage.
Like hot garbage.
But it is a cool game.
We play Cartographer Heroes. Cartographers is our favorite roll and write as of our last top 100. Although I'm telling you right now, Raj's Dice may take that crown at some point.
Oh,
but
man, yeah.
Cartographers is a great game where you're building out a map. We play Cartographers Heroes, which just means you have some heroes. The heroes are kind of like, all right, but they have new monsters, which are super cool, which I really like the new monsters. But we'll play Cartographers. We play this on stream with our chat. We love playing Cartographers because it's one of those games where there's only one person flipping over cards, so everyone else, as long as you have a map, everyone else can play.
You can see what you need to draw, everyone can play.
Yeah, you can essentially all play a solo game, and it's great.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful. Cartographers it's just an incredibly good roll and write. It's incredible. It's
very satisfying. Very satisfying to make a map.
Yeah, very good. Back on the Fell train, we'll bang through these real quick. Castles of Burgundy.
Great
game. We love it.
Talked to Karen.
Looks like trash.
Talked to Karen, she loved it,
great.
so that's a good thing.
Mike played Castle of Tuscany, which
Super
looks
good.
better.
It does.
I'll say it looks better.
It is. It's Ticket to Ride Burgundy, man.
Hey, man.
It's Castles of Burgundy-ish.
Finally went up those Italian hills.
You know? But it's kind of Ticket to Ride style, where now you're using cards instead of dice, and you're trying to get 2 of the same color card to play that color tile. And on your turn, you can basically claim a tile and put it on your little storage board. You can hold 1 tile, at least to start the game. You can hold 1 tile at a time. And you get 2 of that matching color. You can place it on a matching space. And like Castles of Burgundy, you have to build out from your kind of starting castle. And there's things like workers and stuff, but they all work kind of different. So it is definitely distinct and different from Castles of Burgundy. It's very quick. It's definitely lighter than Castles of Burgundy, which I actually really like. I really like this game. It's one of my favorite games of the year. Highly recommend it. It's super cool. And on your turn, it's just like draw some cards, claim a tile to be played later, or play some cards to place a tile. That's it. You get some bonuses from certain things. All the different types of buildings will do different things like Castles of Burgundy does, but they all do kind of their own different deal. And it creates this cool scoring engine. So there's 2 different scoring tracks. There's a red, which are your actual points, and there's green, which every scoring round, you'll get all of your green points transferred into red points. But then that green, wherever you've gotten, if you've gotten to 15 on the green, it does not go back to 0. So that means if I get there at the first round, in the second round and third round, I'm going to build upon my green engine and score those again, or hopefully build up. So it kind of has this ramp up effect, which is super cool. Really like Castles of Tuscany a lot.
Very cool. We played Coal Baron, something we practice speed playing. Coal Baron is a great Kramer-Kiesling game.
Yeah.
That we really like. Our good, wonderful, beautiful friend Crook got it for me for my birthday 2 years ago. Crook gets good games from
Crook knows what to choose.
Yeah, and so this is a great,
dude's got taste.
Very underrated game that a lot of people don't know about. It's a worker placement game, but it's a worker placement game where nothing's ever blocked. You have like 18 workers, and if Mike goes here, I can go there too, but if Mike has put 1 worker there, I then have to pay 2.
Then if I want to go back, I have to pay 3.
And it's just like that, and I like that take on worker placement because it's nice not have anything blocked, but you're just like, because I love that. But there's still it's worth the price. It's worth the price. Yeah. I like that a lot. But Coal Baron is great. It's about you're building out a coal mine. It's got this really cool method of you getting coal mining carts to put in there, which get coal, and then you have a way you have to spend these action points to move your mine shaft down to then load the coal onto the mine shaft, bring it back up to then fulfill orders, essentially.
Super cool.
It's just great. It's relatively quick. It's just fun and it works well. I really like Coal Baron a lot. And you can play it really fast if you really want to.
Yes, you can.
Every game is a filler if you believe.
If you believe. We played Dice Hospital.
Dude, finally
played Dice Hospital.
How long we had this game? Like a year and a half almost?
This was probably our most egregious Shelf of Opportunity game where it had been here for...
Since last Gen Con.
Oh.
Yeah, we got it at last Gen Con 2019.
Took us a year and a half to play it, but we got it done.
We did.
Shouts out to Ross for helping us
Alley Cat
through.
Games, yeah.
For knowing the rules and stuff, because he's an Alley Cat Games associate.
Got great curls, too.
Best curls in the game.
You rock a turtleneck, too.
My guy just looks good. He's a handsome lad. Folks, go thirst upon Ross. More games, please. Check him out on Twitter. Dice Hospital is a really cool dice allocation game where... or rather, your dice are your patients, so it's kind of a worker placement game.
It's worker placement more than
and you have all these dice that will be patients of different colors. There's red, yellow, and green. And they're going to be filling up your different wards, and you're trying to treat them and get them back to good health. So higher numbers on the dice are healthy. So if they get up to 6 and then go up into a 7, they are now healed and gone, and you get reputation and stuff for your hospital. If they go down below a 1, they're going to lose your points at the end of the game because they're dead. And so you have these workers, nurses, and they can get specialists and stuff that give you more workers to use. And you can get different add-ons to your hospitals. You have more spaces to go. And it's a puzzly game where a certain space would be like, you can choose one die, it doesn't matter what color, but if there are 3 or 4, you can treat them 1 and basically increase their value by 1. Or this one, you can take any yellow one and increase it by 1.
Yeah.
So you're trying to get all of your patients and to the right level to then hopefully get a bunch of them sent out at one time, because the more you can do in a single round, the more points you get. And there's a lot of ones that are really specific. It's like if you have 3 reds that all have the same number, you can go here and they all heal twice or something crazy. So you have to like work it to get everything to the right thing to then do the right. It's incredibly puzzly.
It is.
But it's all kind of simultaneous play,
it's
which
pretty
is really
light
cool.
too, which is nice.
Yeah.
It looks good. Mike's in the game, which is great. And so yeah, it's a really fun little puzzle, little engine building kind of work placement, but it's really fun, and it has a solo mode that I really want to try as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We played a little bit of Dragon Castle. This is
speed strat.
A little speed strat Dragon Castle. This is a game that is inspired by Mahjong.
Beautiful game.
And it's just gorgeous. But it's a game where you are essentially trying to build up these shrines to, for the dragons, basically. But you have to
rebuild the old castle. It's kind of in ruins now, and you're trying to rebuild out of the stones of old.
Exactly. And so you have your board in the middle that has all the tiles, kind of like Mahjong style. And essentially, you can take matching tiles. You have the first tile you take has to be off the very top level.
Is,
and then you can take any other free tile. Free tile means it has one of the long sides is free. And so you're basically trying to, and then once you're putting them on your little board here, and then once you have 4 matching colors, so like 4 greens, and they're all adjacent to each other, they'll then flip over and give you a certain amount of points, and then you can put a little shrine top on top of it, and those will be worth points.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is then you can start, once they're flipped over, they're essentially considered to be like blank again. And so you can start putting stuff on top of them. And it's just this really cool, very zen, just relaxing puzzle that you're trying to fill. It really is just like a relaxing, like, okay, I'm gonna grab this and grab this. And you're essentially just trying to score the most points you can. And it's really, really great. And the production quality is bananas.
Super pretty. Simon made it, so it's got that kind of power behind it. I played this one a few times recently, and I've remembered how much I enjoyed this game.
It had been really a while, beautiful. And we were just like, no, this game is incredible.
We almost culled it a couple times, and I'm like, I'm glad we didn't, because we don't get down on abstract games a lot.
Yeah.
But that's the one I think is for us. Because it's just beautiful. It's zen. It makes us feel relaxed. Like we're planning on doing a top 10 like relaxing games coming up in the next year.
It'll probably be on there.
And it's probably going to be on there because it's just really great.
Yeah, it's really, really great. Dragon Castle is really, really good.
Nick, you finally played an exit game. Give me your thoughts.
Didn't like it.
What?
I don't like exit games. I don't like Unlock. They make me feel stupid. I don't like them.
I wish it didn't make you feel stupid, because you don't come off stupid while playing.
I'm aware that I'm aware that I'm not stupid.
Nick came up with a lot of the pieces of the puzzle.
And
we played the Polar Station specifically.
I don't like riddles because I'm not good at solving riddles, and they make me feel stupid. And that's what these games are.
Riddles specifically are designed to trick you.
Yes,
and
exactly.
And exit games rely a little bit on like, I'm going to get them thinking down this path, but it's not the right one. I don't mind that. I enjoy that.
I'll play if I'm going to do like an escape room. I want to do an escape room, but even then, I always feel like I'm not contributing to this escape room. And But I'm having fun because the experience is fun. But like I would never want to do an escape room on my own. I can't think of anything I would hate more.
Oh God, yeah.
So it's one of those things, like I'll do an escape room because it's fun to be in that environment. It's fun to be like, oh, what's over here? Oh, what is this?
So that didn't necessarily translate as much in a board game. Because for me, it's not the same. Obviously, as going to a place where you have costumes and stuff. But it was similarly satisfying.
You see, for me, it's so not.
Okay.
Yeah, I
really
don't like escape room
tear
games.
stuff up and cut things and whatnot.
I'll play a legacy game.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, it's nothing against the escape unlock games or exit games. I just do not like them at all. And I did not enjoy it. I mean, I enjoyed it because we were with our siblings, and I enjoyed playing with like Rosie and Chaz, our brother and sister. But like, I was just like, yeah, this isn't fun.
Sure.
Like, yeah,
that's fair. Totally fair. I've enjoyed the exit games. I would play more, but I would want to stick to the. I don't need to do like a level 4 or 5 one. I'm good at 2. Keep them easy. I want to feel a little smart by the end of it. So I don't want the extra added challenging ones. I'm good on the easy end of them.
That's fair.
That's just for me. We play some Fields of Arle. We always, when we go home, shouts out to Steph. Every time we go home to Sacramento, we try to go to Great Escape Games and support them if we can. We always try to.
Great game store.
In general, like we try to support local if and when we can.
Yeah.
You know, we buy games online, and I think that's totally fine too. But if you have a spot that does their job well, try to support them. Great Escape Games is probably our favorite game store, period. They are rad. They've just expanded, obviously not making it much use of their expansion lately because you can't hang out and play games, but they have a lot of room to play games, and they have a really good selection of games at all times. They always have great stuff. Banger. So we were there, and we saw Fields of Arle, and we're like, Steph has talked about this. Yeah. This is a big Uwe Rosenberg game, but specifically, it's a 1 or 2 player giant Uwe Rosenberg game.
It's like Feast for Odin, big box, but it's 1 to 2 players. That's it.
And so we're like, that's super interesting. I didn't know it was only a 2-player game, and we in general like 2-player games. So like, let's get it and try it. It's big. It's Uwe.
There's Pete Boggs.
It's really good.
It's great.
We need to play it again.
It's very interesting. It's a game where there's like summer and then winter. So you do actions on like this half of the board, and then you do actions on this half of the board. So you're essentially trying to set up each season.
Because there's different actions are available. Certain things are unavailable depending on what time of year it is.
And there's all these buildings you can get. It's very Uwe. It looks very Uwe. It's got
production on stuff.
But it's really, really good. We haven't had a chance to play it more than that one time because we've been busy. But I really want to play it again. And it's, again, 1 to 2 players. So I really want to play it solo because I really like Feast for Odin solo. I know you do as well. So I'm like, oh, this is probably going to be great solo. So Fields of Arle is real cool. I haven't had a chance to explore it much, but I want to.
Yeah. We also played Hens, which is basically the same as Fields of Arle.
Basically the same game.
Except for you have hens who are finding gems. In Hens, it's sort of a programming game.
It is kind of a programming
game.
Where
there's a few different phases to a round. One is you have a timed round where you're rolling out dice. And different value dice will give you access to different actions. 1, 2s, and 3s will help you move your hen around. 4s and 5s will help you dig up more gems. And 6s will help you get turn order and then are wild if you re-roll them that way. And it's kind of a fun little game where every round you'll sort of seed the sort of common area, the gem pen, with gems, the hen pen with gems. Man, it gets weird. And then you can kind of program the movement. And this is the one bit that I thought was interesting is like the hens have to move in one direction you choose. If you choose a 1, 2, or 3, they move 1, 2, or 3. And they have to go straight, and they have to go the full amount if they can. So it's kind of this weird thing of like, I want to get to this gem that's down here, which means I'm going to do a 3, then a 1 to the left, and then a 1 back up, because with the dice I have, it's the only way I can get to this one gem. And then you're putting them onto this giant Fabergé egg. You're trying to basically design a Fabergé egg where each different section can only have 1 color of gem in there. So you're sort of doing that. It's just a weird, funky little game.
It was cool, yeah.
But it was pretty fun. Like, it's not a game changer, but I was like, this is cute. And like the movement was interesting enough where I was like, okay, this is kind of an interesting little programming
powers
puzzle.
You can get, you know, which is cool. Like draft and stuff like that, which is cool.
Yeah, so it's cute.
It's fine. It's a cool little game. It's not breaking the bank, but yeah, it's cool. I like it. Gentes, we played Gentes. Gentes is a great taste minstrel game.
Yeah.
That we've actually played a couple times recently. We had to play it, and then we played it again, obviously, during the marathon where we played every game we have. But it's really cool. It's kind of like a Civilization themed game, but it's got a really cool time mechanic where you essentially are there's a big board with all these tiles all over it. Those tiles are actions. So if you take this tile, you get to do this action. Take this tile, you get some cards. That's the action. But basically, the better the tiles for the most part, or basically the least because all the tiles also cost money to use. So a lot of times, if they don't cost much money, they're going to take a lot of time.
Yeah,
or you can pay more
versa,
money
maybe.
and take less time. But essentially, you put the tile into this little track on top of your player board, and then sometimes you'll have to put extra time there because it's taking you longer to do that.
Most of the time, I was put extra time because and you made a good point. You're like, yeah, because you're building the pyramids. It takes time to do that. I was like,
a while to do
okay.
it. But you only have so much time, so much space on this track, and so once you take tiles and enough time and be full, you're done.
Yeah.
And it's this kind of, and you're basically trying to put out cards for the most part, and these cards are going to require you to have certain populations like merchants and nobility and civ stuff, you know. But the time mechanic is so interesting, and the cards will give you points. Sometimes they'll also give you extra actions you can do or little powers you can do. But it's really cool. And I like Gentes a lot. I think it's a really fun game that feels very different because of the time mechanic, which I think is interesting.
I've never encountered a game that's dealt with like time in that way, and that's really cool. And I really, there are kind of a few different examples of that lately, but I love the idea of time as a currency.
Yes.
I think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, especially with the Civ thing where you're playing 3 eras and you're kind of moving forward in time. It's like, yes, it would take a while to complete this project and stuff. So it's satisfying in its way.
It's very cool,
Nick, praise be.
Praise be.
Praise be to Phil Walker Harding. We love you.
Phil Walker Harding, I love you. Praise be.
We love you, sir. Gingerbread House is a game that we like to play around the holidays. I think it's charming. I think it's combo-tastic and fun. I love it for what it is. It's a game where you are placing down these domino tiles that will have a certain amount of symbols on. They'll have different types of gingerbread, frosting. You can get more characters and stuff. And basically what matters is what you're covering up. Whatever you cover up, you're going to get. So again, you can get different types of frosting. You can get some stairs to help you build up your gingerbread house. You can get, you can exchange stuff and things like that. And you're all trying to lure in famous fairy tale characters from the public domain society.
Specifically public domain fairy tale characters.
Like a golden donkey who just barfs up gold coins and stuff like that. And you're trying to lure them in and murder them in your house.
It's true.
That's how we take it.
Yeah.
But it's a super fun game because it's, again, combo-tastic, satisfying, where if you cover up 2 of the same symbol, you get a 3rd version of that symbol. Every time you capture a fairy tale character by turning in the right gingerbreads for them, you'll get points at the end of the game. And then you also get this bonus wild tile, which you can throw down. And then when you cover that up, that can be any types of gingerbread, can be any type of action. And if you ever get 2 wilds next to each other and cover that up, you get 3 wild actions. You can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Sometimes you collect a fairy tale character, you get that wild tile, you put it down here, which gives you a gingerbread to collect a second fairy tale character that you have in front of your house. Like you can pull off some really cool stuff.
Really satisfying.
But it's ultimately Phil Walker Harding wheelhouse, light,
stuff.
accessible. It makes sense. If I cover up blue, I get blue. That makes sense. There's no like, how does this work? Very simple. Great game. Gingerbread House, love it.
Great. We played Kokoro, Avenue of the Kodama.
Bam.
Which is a roll and write, or flip and fill, I guess. Is flip and write, whatever. Roll and write.
Build pathways to sanctuaries.
You are building pathways to sanctuaries. This game, I really like, but like this is a game where if you want to roll and write, that is incredibly difficult and very restrictive.
I've found my way with this one. I don't struggle with it as much.
Oh, see, I have a hard, because it's just, you're flipping over cards that dictates what kind of path you need to draw, and you have to draw in a specific orientation. And you're basically just trying to hit butterflies and worms, because of course, flowers and worms rather.
Because
you're trying to get to these sanctuaries. You're just writing out paths. You're making paths.
You can put a path anywhere, but the rule is when you flip over a card, it'll have a certain orientation. Like it's a turn here and here, but you cannot rotate that. You have to put it in as it lies, but you can place it anywhere, including making dead ends and stuff like that.
At the mercy of whatever cards flip over.
Yeah.
And
you also have no idea how long the round is going to be because there's golden cards that will time out the round.
Yeah, and each round you score a certain, basically based off of how many of those flowers and worms you hit, you score a certain amount of points. Everyone's 1 point. But then the next round, every round, you have to get more points. If the next round you don't get more points,
higher scoring
you then get 0 points if you didn't outscore. So you can't do too well in the beginning because you need to make sure you can continue to get more and more points, or else you'll get -5 points for every 0 you get. And it's very difficult, and I do like it, but it is... I can only play it every once in a while because it's so restrictive.
You've gotta think long term. You have to build something that you can continually build on. You have to be thinking round 3 and round 1.
Yes.
You really do. And if you do that, stuff will kind of work out for you. But it's just like, it's brutal, man.
It's real bad. It's tough. It's really good, but it's very hard.
Hot take alert.
Hot take alert?
Nick, tell me about London.
London is the worst game I've ever played.
This is a Martin Wallace game that I like.
Mike likes this game a lot.
Nick cannot.
I hate this game with every fiber of my being.
It's so funny. So London is a game where you are building out stacks of cards in front of you to ultimately get money. You're building London. You're like rebuilding it after the Great Fire.
Yeah,
or something
really.
like that. And you have all these cards you can play in front of you and stuff, and then you can kind of basically run your city, which will give you money and things, but you're also going to acquire poverty. And there's sort of tableau stuff will trigger and do all these things, which I found really interesting.
It's not.
Nick did not. The first time we played this, which was a while ago, Nick did not have a good time, and I had a good time. I was so shocked by that. Yeah. So like we finally played it again. I was like, let's do this again.
Well, we played it again in prep for the marathon.
Yeah.
Because we hadn't played it in so long that I was like, I need to relearn this game.
And I was like, Nick's going to come around. And we finished it. I was like, afterward, Nick's like, this is the worst game of all time. It's true. To the point where he said we called it instantly. It's out.
Yeah, because there's no point in us keeping a game that
we figured don't spend time during the marathon.
Well, not to mention
you actively hate.
Someone else we know who really likes the game has it, and so like Mike can just play with him. This is, I think, my least favorite game ever. I hate this game. I just don't think I like Martin Wallace games, which really bums me out because I really want to like Martin Wallace games.
Yeah.
But everyone I've played, I've either disliked or been like, on. And so it's like, it sucks because on paper, every single one sounds amazing. And I don't like it. This game, you basically, every time you run your city, you're going to be hopefully getting rid of this poverty, but then you end up getting poverty back because your city. And it's like 2 steps backward, 1 step forward, at least whenever I play. And I just find there's certain games like that where you're basically trying to get forward and then you're going to get knocked back.
Yes.
But you're trying to get forward, but each time you're trying to go a little bit farther, you get like a new game that we have is finishing time. It's kind of a similar mechanic in terms of just that part of it.
Yeah. You're trying to overcome.
This one, I'm like, okay, I finally did okay. I finally built it where my city where I can just do okay. And then I run my city and it turns out I'm like, I'm worse than I was. And I'm in a deeper hole and I'm trying to crawl out of it and I go into a deeper hole and I hate this game. I hate it so much. I hate it so I never ever want to see it again. I don't want it in my presence. I really, really, really dislike this.
That's fair, man. That's fair. It is definitely the epitome of like
so unsatisfying.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I love the look of it too.
Yeah.
I think it's gorgeous. I like the idea of it.
It's not your game.
Hate this game. I really do. I absolutely abhor it.
How do you think about Pandemic Legacy Season 0?
I really like
We played the prologue a few times. We played it with my fiance as we prep to play through the campaign.
We'll start playing soon,
It's Pandemic during the Cold War spy stuff, so it has a lot of those feelings of Pandemic, but they are kind of re-implemented to match the theming and the integration stuff. And there's a few things I'm like, oh, the Outbreak here, there's incidents now and stuff work differently. And I'm like, that's kind of fun and exciting.
Yeah.
And because of like the intrigue from the theme, I'm really excited to play this one. We've only played the prologue, which is sort of a spoiler-free. You can play the prologue as many times as you want to learn the game.
Yeah.
But it's been really fun. I'm super excited to jump into it.
Really excited to try Pandemic. We can't talk about it anymore because we haven't played it, and we also can't talk about it spoil anything. But nonetheless, it's great. We played Planet.
Speed played it.
Speed played Planet. Planet is a really weird game where everyone has their own big D12, essentially, that has magnets D12 on it. And then there are these magnetic land types, essentially. They'll have like ice and mountains and water and stuff like that.
Grass.
And essentially, on your turn, you're going to take one of those things and put it onto your D12, which is going to make a part of your little planet.
Yep.
And then every round, you're going to get another one. There's 12 rounds. So by the end of it, you have a completed planet. But throughout the game, you're going to be scoring these cards. So it'll be like, what's your biggest area of ice that's not next to water? So then you look at your planet and you find it. And then whoever has
3 little sections that aren't touching water.
Yeah, and whoever has the biggest one will then gain that card. And the cool thing is you see all the cards for the whole game. So you know what's coming. So you can
be building up towards certain stuff.
You can like try and plan for it. And then everyone has like a secret card they have of a certain land type they want to have a lot of. And then at the end of the game, you get 1 point for every card that you get to take that matches the land type you want. 2 points for every card that doesn't match your land type. And then that's it. But it's this really cool like spatial puzzle where you're trying to like, okay, what do I have? What do I have? You know, just like...
Really fascinating, man.
It's really cool. And there's a bunch of scoring cards throughout the game. So there's just some where you're like, I literally can't do that one. So you're just like, all right, screw that one. Bye.
It's okay to do that, too. It's okay to be like, nah, I'm not going to worry about those ones. I'm going to focus on these ones and stuff. And
it's great. It's honestly, it's a super unique, interesting game that I like a lot.
Yeah. Super cool. Yeah. What do we got next?
Well, I don't know, Maggie.
What do we got next, Nick?
Quadropolis.
We speed played Quadropolis.
But you can play it real fast.
You play it really fast because there's 4 quick rounds in each round. If you're playing the basic version of the game, which we were, in each round you're going to collect 4 tiles, hopefully. And the main rule is you have the central board that you're collecting tiles from, and you have these different architects that have numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4. And if I place a 2 on the left side of the board, I'm going to go to the left side, go 1, 2 tiles in, and that's the tile I'm going to get. So it's a super fascinating thing of like, how do I actually get to this tile?
Yeah.
I need to be on this side with this number, and it creates just a little bit of a puzzliness, and then the number that you use will also dictate what area you can go into your city. So if I use a 3, I have to either go into the 3rd row or the 3rd column. So that also gets a little bit tricky of like, okay, I can only place it here, and a lot of it comes down to adjacency. Parks want to be next to apartment buildings. Harbors and stuff want to be next to factories and things because you'd be dropping things off. Harbors want to be in nice big lines. You make a nice little channel,
little coastline.
Things like that. And so it's all about building out this town with the right adjacency. It's just fun.
It just works. It just works.
We've had this one for quite some time now, and it just always is a satisfying
lighter city
time.
builder, it's just great. The
Especially-
puzzle is interesting, but not super difficult.
Yeah.
Because that sounds so restrictive, right? Like I need this tile, I have to use a
You can
2
get
that I have
stuff
to put
done.
here. But like you can always make it work,
Yeah.
and it's just super fun. This is a game where I would love like a legit expansion for.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
Because I love the base game, but I would love to like, there's all these new kinds of buildings. I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
All right, we played Sanctum. We played Sanctum with our good friend Jimbo Slice.
Jimbles.
Jambles. So
Play
this is a
some
CGE
Sanctum.
game, kind of a Amerithrash theme on top of a Euro game, where essentially you are traveling
warriors.
up to this Sanctum, which has this big knot Balrog up there. And essentially, you're just trying to, throughout the game, you're trying to equip yourself for this last final fight you're going to have against this big daemon thing.
Diamonds.
And so as you're going up these big hills, got these really cool like long boards, you're kind of traveling up them. You're going to be coming across all these different demons. You then will collect those demons and then fight them. If you fight them, you flip them over, and there's loot on the other side. So it'll be like, this demon turned into boots for some reason, because Euros. And then
They poofed.
Yeah, and then you can equip those boots onto your person, and they will give you basically dice mitigation or shields.
Yeah.
Shields help you from blocking against when you don't kill something, and then dice mitigation is dice mitigation. But it's got this really cool, essentially tech tree, where every character has a unique set of skills and stuff like that you can basically unlock by moving these gems up, and you move those gems up by defeating monsters. So it just works in this really synergistic way. And by the time you get to the top of the Sanctum, you get to the big
beefed
battle
up and whatnot.
You hopefully are equipped out, and then you have one big final gauntlet of a fight, and you're basically just trying to survive. And then basically at the end of the game, whoever has the most health of the people who survived, that person wins. So it's like this really cool, I find very satisfying, relatively quick game that I really like.
It's really fun. It's like fairly streamlined in a lot of ways. Like, you know exactly how to kill monsters. Like, you need a dice of that number. Or if it's a level 2, you need 2 dice with these 2 numbers. Super straightforward in a lot of ways, and creates a fun, satisfying experience. And the different characters are fairly asymmetrical in the types of things they'll give you as you unlock those abilities and stuff. Super neat game. I die most of the time. So I have not mastered it yet, but it's really fun and it goes quick, which is pretty rad.
It's pretty rad. And it's got really great minis for no reason, really. They could have easily just been
satisfying.
discs, but
They lean into that Amerithrash
They do,
theming
which I like. And the
well.
art's great too. It's honestly, I like this game a lot. I feel it's kind of under the radar, unfortunately, but it's really good.
Yeah, it didn't quite hit. It seemed like there was some buzz before it came out. But we also played Silver and Gold. This was the first thing we ever did as a speed test. We're like, let's just see how fast we can play at the end of a stream. We played in like 3 minutes. We're like, that was one of the moments where we're like,
we could do this.
We might be able to do this marathon.
Yeah.
We might be able to do it.
That really was the first time where I was like, oh, crap, we could do this.
That was quicker than we thought it would be. Silver and Gold is another praise be. Flip and fill, where you are going to be having some, you'll have 2 kind of treasure maps in front of you, and then you'll flip over a card that will have one of a different type of Tetris shapes. And basically what that means, if it's an L or just 3 in a line or whatever, you have to X off 3 boxes on one of your treasure maps in that shape. And then once you complete all the squares, you X off all the squares on any treasure map you complete it, which will score points at the end of the game. And you get a new treasure map, and that's all you're doing.
It's very simple.
You can cross off coins to occasionally get a trophy for a couple bonus points. There's some palm trees which you can cross off a few times a game to get a couple bonus points. But it's really just trying to fill out those treasure maps and then complete it. So it's super quick and light. It's like not the deepest game, not the best game, but it's a satisfying,
a travel roll and write. We
travel
ran into
size.
airports, and you're just like, oh, let's play. We got 10 minutes. We'll just play real quick.
Exactly. It comes with us when we travel and stuff, and I really enjoy Silver and Gold. So
I like it a lot.
Super cool. Talking about a flip and fill. This is a flick and right.
Flick and right.
Called Sonora,
which we love Sonora
on right now.
Man, I love Sonora. Sonora is a flick and right, as Mikey said.
So it has like a little crokinole board in the
Yeah,
middle.
it does. It's like a little crokinole board. So basically you have this little board and like kind of raised edges on the corners. And you have 5 discs labeled 1 through 5. And there's 4 regions on the board. And you're going to take one of your discs, whatever one you want, and you flick it. And you're basically, wherever it ends up in the region, that disc will activate that area on your board.
This big kind of dry erase player.
Yeah, you have this big dry erase board. So everyone flicks all their stuff, and then you basically go section by section, and then you write stuff. So one of the areas is like kind of like a polyomino tile thing where you're like drawing out shapes. So if there's a 2 disc in there, that 2 disc means you can. A 2 means you can draw this shape in this area, and this area you're trying to encircle cactus. And so the cacti will then, the more cacti you encircle, the more points will be worth at the end of the game. Great. This one over here is you're going down like a creek bed. And so if you have a 5 disc there, you get to go down 5 spots in it.
And you circle that 5th spot, which might give you a bonus or give you points.
Yeah, this one up here, you're just marking off stuff. This one up here, you're like crossing off stuff and trying to like encircle other stuff. But depending on what discs are where, that's what they activate. And the discs are 1 through 5, which means the 5s are much more powerful.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to basically be like, okay, I want to work on this section. Okay, so I need to try and flick this over here. But sometimes you accidentally hit yourself and knock yourself out of an area. Or if I'm like, Mike's doing really good in this area, I'm going to flick and try to hit him out of there.
Defense a little bit, yeah.
And it's just like such a cool way. So instead of like flipping cards, now it's like you got to flick.
Or rolling dice, it creates a little bit of randomness, but you can also do a little bit of skill potentially.
You can. And there's a little crokinole hole in the middle. So if you get in there, you get to choose where that disc go. It's one of the roll and write part is really fun, and then the way you get to put stuff in is so cool and fun and new.
Yeah, it's combo-tastic and stuff. It's just really unique.
Real good combos.
Yeah, so Sonora is like, when we first saw it, I was like, that's really interesting. We played it, I was like, this is really fun.
Yeah, it's just a blast. If you like roll and writes, that kind of stuff, it's so much fun.
It's super duper cool. So Sonora rips, do check it out. We also played some Sorcerer City. Sorcerer City, we played this a couple times recently. We played with a few different. We played like a 5-player game.
We did play a 5-player game.
It's a big game. This is one that more and more I'm like, it's such a big game because you're building out. It's kind of speed Carcassonne. You're building out this magical city every round. You're trying to flip them over tiles one at a time as best you can and build out different, basically sections of color and stuff. So you get money, influence, prestige, and magic. And it's a tough one at like 5 players because it becomes long and it becomes like we're on a big table here and 5 players, like it could barely handle that.
Big table.
It's a big table. And I'm like, because everything spreads out so much and everything is so big to begin with and there are these big tiles, which is super cool, but it just becomes problematic when the spread begins. But Sorcerer City is really fun. I enjoy it. I think I enjoy it more at lower player counts.
I'm to the point now, because we played this again during our marathon because we had to play everything. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it when we were playing with those 5 people because we were playing with our friends. So that was great. But I was just like, we kind of both walked away and were like, I don't know how much I like Sorcerer City. And then we played it in the marathon. I'm like, no, I like it more. I just like it at 2 players.
It's tough because
2 or maximum 3 because it's just short. It's shorter.
Yeah, it's shorter. And there's like a tricky thing of like monsters start coming in, which is really interesting because the monsters will bash up and mess up your city. But it'll have an icon that says this is a dragon. And so on a card, it tells you what the dragon does. And we'll kind of go over it. But if you have 5 people and you're trying to play fast, there's a guarantee, I promise you're going to flip over the dragon and be like, I don't remember how the dragon works.
Yeah.
And now I'm losing a bunch of time
trying to figure out
but I'm not losing time trying to figure out what to do with the dragon. I'm trying to figure out what I can do with the dragon, and that's not good. So when you play with 5 people, it's just too much to manage. It's just not
And to me, the fun part of the game is the flipping over the tiles, building your city. But then after that
gets in the way of
then
that.
the whole game stops, and you go, okay, you have to score everything, and then you get to buy, and then do influence. Who has the most influence? Figure out that. Okay, you get this ability. Now you do this. Yeah. Okay, now we're in the buy phase. Now we get to buy new tiles, and buying new tiles is great. But like the building part,
it ends up.
Yes,
you spend so much more time not doing the building.
The game is the building part, and that is actually a pretty small part of the game in the end. And so with 2 players or 3 players, especially if the 3 players are pretty quick at making decisions, it's not too bad because you're like, I'm gonna buy this tile, let's go, boom.
Yeah.
And 2 players, it's great.
I'm kind of like 3 players max for this
max
game.
At this point because I like the game, but there's too much other stuff in the game. Like to me, I'm like, get rid of the influence phase.
Yeah, the influence phase
get rid of the whole. The buy phase makes sense. You buy a new tile.
The influence phase is too powerful too.
Yeah,
because it's like in the later rounds, if you win the influence, you get to get a card points. And you get tons of points. And I'm like, it becomes too much of like you have to do influence.
Yes,
you have to do it, or else you don't have a chance.
Yeah, so I'm like, get rid of the influence phase.
That's just not balanced enough.
If you had to, and so there's just too many other stuff other than the game, which is building the things. It should just be that, buy new tiles, buy new tiles. That should be the entire thing, in my opinion.
Make the challenge more about can you complete your city in time.
Yeah, and so for 2 players, the rest of it goes quick enough where it's great. Yeah. But I think any more than 2, or especially 3, I'm like, nah, I flat out don't want to play it anymore.
I don't want to play giant games this anymore.
No.
But hey, that's all right.
Yeah.
We played some Sushi Roll. Praise be!
Praise be!
Played some Sushi Roll.
We have so many Phil Walker Harding games.
I know, we do. We love Phil Walker Harding.
We do love Phil Walker Harding.
Sushi Roll is a dice version of Sushi Go, where you're drafting out these different dice that have adorable little sushis on them and stuff. And it's all the same thing. A set collection. You want 2 tempura to get the points and stuff. But the thing that we always say about this one is that we appreciate that everyone has like a little conveyor belt with their dice on them, but you go in turn order. You go around where everyone actually chooses a die, and you can actually swap dice with different conveyor belts and things like that, or re-roll some dice. And so the fact that you actually go in turn order keeps things cleaner.
Yes.
It stops you from like, oh, I went already. Oh, I've gone twice already. You know, like the weirdness that happens with card drafting.
Yeah.
So it really helps alleviate all those things and keeps a light game light. So we just love Sushi Roll.
Sushi Roll is great. It's incredible. We played Teotihuacan.
Of course I did. Teotihuacan gets played every month because it's great. I love it. Teotihuacan is a fantastic game. It's fantastic. You play it on Board Game Arena. Love it. Moving dice around, ascending those workers, moving temple tracks. It's great. Moving on.
It's incredible. It's really good. We played Terraforming Mars. This also we played during one of our speed games.
Played like 20
One of our
minutes,
streams we played
20...
Zolkin, Terraforming Mars, Dragon Castle, Quadropolis, and Sonora all in one stream, which was awesome. But Terraforming Mars is great, and because we've been speed playing it, we've been playing just base game.
Yeah.
And you know what? I like base game Terraforming Mars.
Yeah. I
think I do.
We've been playing with Prelude because it jumpstarts the game.
I count that as base game.
Every expansion for Terraforming Mars is cool and adds fun stuff. None of it is necessary.
No.
It really isn't. Like, if you want to have that more stuff, totally have it. But like, if we're playing without it, and I play like digitally a lot, and now it has Prelude, and I play with Prelude, I'm like, I'm not missing this stuff. I'm not like, I really wish that colony card was in here.
Yeah,
I'm
like
it's
Venus
fine
Next
if
I don't mind because
there.
it's literally just more cards. But like the colonies expansion, I'm very much like, here's the thing. Once all that stuff comes out for the digital version too,
I'm all in.
I'm pumped because then I'm like, I can just play
on or off.
Yeah, and I can play with it quickly and stuff like that. I don't have to like bring. But now I'm kind of like, man, like for me personally, like I'm like, let's just get rid of everything that's not just base game. Maybe keep Venus Next if we really want to, and the rest I'll just play on the digital one because I like the digital one and I can play with it there. And then if we're playing it normally, I'm like, there's so much to explore in just the base game, and with Prelude, it's quicker. I'm like,
there's
I'm
still
cool
a
with
stack
just
this big of cards in the base game.
We got a couple different boards, and I'm like, it's great. You know? So yeah,
super cool.
But great game. I mean, I love Terraforming Mars, and you can play it very quickly if you want to.
Yes, you did. We got our pledge for Tidal Blades. Our pledge arrived.
We got our pledge.
Pledge arrived. It took so long to get here, I forgot what it's called. It's called a pledge. Tidal Blades Heroes of the Reef has arrived. And we got a chance to play it just once. We played a 2-player game of it where we were sort of in the book and stuff. So it's a tough one to kind of fully rule because like we were kind of a bit lost, but it's one that I enjoyed. This is one thing I'll say about Tidal Blades is like, it's one of the best looking games of all time in terms of its production and the art style and stuff. I'm not sure how great a game is in there. I think it's a fine game that has a really cool world associated with it. It's one of those games that, again, we need to play some more because there's a lot of stuff to explore. And so we will do another one of these in the future. But with Tidal Blades so far, I'm kind of like, I'm curious where the ceiling is on this one. I hope it's high, but I'm getting a feeling that it's a little lower than I wanted it to be. Certainly after waiting for 2 years for it to arrive. I'm
That's
like,
the thing. And we,
it's super pretty, but how great is it? I don't know.
Yeah, we played it quickly. We were kind of like, I don't quite remember how this works, and so it was not the best play, but I was kind of saying, I'm like, okay, this was not as fun as I remember it being or thought it was going to be. But again, it's like
it has so much potential though.
Yeah, there's definitely other stuff we could play with in there that we have. Again, it was not the best play, but it was but nonetheless, the look of it alone, I'm just like, gosh, man, it's just the most gorgeous game. But I am curious to explore it more to see, like, where is the ceiling? I think it might not be as high as we want.
Yeah, it might not be, but I think it'll be buoyed a bit once we kind of have a better understanding of what we're doing.
But like it. But yeah, we need to explore it more. We just haven't had we've been busy. As I said multiple times, the marathon took like 2 months of our lives. So it's been a lot of
We'll get to it in 2021.
Speaking of Kickstarters, we played a game called Treasure Hogs. We actually did a playthrough video for this for Farshire Games. They hired us to do a playthrough and a stream for it. And this was a good little game just to kind of like just treasure hunting kind of set collection game where you're just
trying to turn in the right resource cards to collect treasure on your turn.
Yeah, and that's it. It was very, very simple. Unfortunately, it didn't fund, and so it didn't make the funding, which is too bad because it was a cute little game. It was fine. You know,
it was fine. It's not a game changer. It's not the greatest game of all time. Like it's in the. I imagine that's why it didn't fund. Also, there was like kind of this big election in the World Series and a bunch of life stuff going on at the time, so it just was not good timing. Hopefully they go again and have some more success in the future. But it was a cute little game, especially we played during our playthrough. We played a 4-player game of it, and it is better when you have more people to kind of
you really want 4
kind of battle over stuff and stuff. But it was a cute game, kind of like a la Gem Hens. I'm like, this is cool. This ain't gonna change the world, but it's a fine game.
Yeah.
So hopefully someday they get to
hopefully they come back and it
hope that because they're really cool people. So.
Yeah, they were very, very nice people. It was wonderful.
So we played Tzolk'in during that super speed stream. We played that in like 20 odd minutes. Man. Tzolk'in is really cool.
Mike didn't like it. He didn't put on his top 100.
I forgot about it.
Mike didn't put it on his top 100. I did.
I feel bad about it, man. I'm like,
Tzolk'in, is a worker placement game, a very unique one where you're putting workers on these big gears, and then the gears will turn every turn. So basically, they're just like riding, and then eventually you can take them off, and wherever you take them off, you'll get to do that action. And all the different gears kind of have a realm, and they're in. Essentially, this one you get corn and wood. This one you can do this. This one you can do this. Generally, you can do this. This one you go over here and build buildings, that kind of stuff. And essentially, on your turn, you can either put workers out or you can take workers off. That's all you can do.
It's got to do one of those two things.
And it's just that mix of just trying to keep them on there long enough where, because they get more powerful, the actions, of course, as you go down the line.
The longer you're on the gear, the better.
And it's just this weird puzzle and balance, and it's difficult, but like, it's not that much of a brain burn. It's just weird, but it really, really works.
It's all about timing. It's just all about timing. It's like, how do you keep resources and stuff and stay on the gears, and when do you pull everything off?
You gotta feed your people.
You gotta feed your people. And it's ultimately fairly tight resource-wise. When you're trying to build buildings and monuments and stuff to get your main hit of points. It's just super cool.
It's cool.
I'm like, it's just one of the most unique games of all time.
Yeah.
It's just super interesting. I like it so much that I forgot to put it on my top 100. But it's in there. It's in that top 100 somewhere. Somewhere it's getting placed, and everything else is getting shifted down.
It's true.
And a lot of stuff's getting shifted down. I really like Tzolk'in a lot.
Tzolk'in's great. It's super unique. If you like worker placement and like kind of weird takes on those kinds of things, check out Tzolk'in. It's great.
Yeah. Couple more here. I played Under Falling Skies, which is a solo game with some Quanshai art. Quanshai Muria.
The best.
Super cool. So this game is sort of like Space Invaders or whatever. Aliens are kind of flying down to bust up your city, and you start off like in Roswell. And there's a bunch of different towns you can use, which will give you different powers as you go through the campaign and everything. So it's got this kind of cool campaign to it. But it's rolling dice and then allocating those dice to bust up the ships and stuff to basically get ships. As they're in the sky, they're kind of moving down, but then you can do things to shift them to the right and left. And in the sky, basically, there's all these kind of explosions. And if you get them on explosion, they go bye-bye. So you're trying to like move everything in the right spots. Very puzzly and interesting. And then you're kind of trying to research with these excavators. You unearth better actions and stuff like that. But it's this cool thing of like, if I put a 6 down here, whatever column that's in, that ship moves down 6 instantly. So it's like very like... There's just a lot of fun puzzling stuff to think about, which is kind of perfect for a solo game because you can just sit there and be like, I wonder
in your own time and just be like,
over here. And there's things where like your white dice, you have to re-roll all your stuff. So it's just all these kind of like fun little puzzly elements. But then as you move forward, the difficulty changes. The town you're using gives you different powers and things like that. So there's a lot to explore, which I haven't gotten to yet. But Under Falling Skies was super cool. I really want to kind of like go through the campaign on my own and just explore.
Yeah,
super cool.
Yeah, I want to try it too. I love that there's more and more just straight up one-player games. I think it's really cool.
It's awesome.
Underwater Cities is a great game we played.
It's a fantastic game where you're just going around trying to develop your underwater network because stuff on top of the land is just too populated and crappy and whatnot. So you got to like go down to the water because you can't go to Mars. Can't do that.
Yeah, it kind of got a Terraforming Mars-y feel to it, but not. It's not that similar. But it's just got the general engine building of playing out cards. But it's super cool where when you're activating, there's 3 parts of the board: the red, orange, and green sides. And when you activate an area, certain areas have better actions, but the cards of that area aren't quite as valuable.
You're trying to pair a card with an action.
Yeah, and it's just it's got a really cool feel to it. I like the game a lot, and I really want to try the expansion.
Yeah, me too. I really want to get it at some point and check it out. But it's just a great game of just kind of building out this player board. Really interesting, that kind of card play. just really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's good. Underwater Sea is great.
You played Watergate.
I got to play a little Watergate. I played with Ross, who we talked about earlier from More Games Please. Check him out on Twitch and on Twitter. He's wonderful.
Thirst upon him.
Thirst upon him. He's a wonderful man. And so we played Watergate. We just wanted to hang out and play something, so we decided to play some Watergate on Tabletop Simulator.
Why not?
It was fun. It's a 2-player game where you essentially, one person's playing Nixon, and you're trying to not get found out, basically, and the other person is playing reporters, and you're basically trying to get evidence against Nixon.
What side did you play?
I played Nixon.
Did you win?
I did not. I was very close to winning. I was in.
You're a bastard.
I am a bastard. I did. I did get very, very close to winning. Ross eked it out a little bit at the very end there. I was actually doing quite well.
Cool.
But yeah, it's this weird game where you're playing cards and you have essentially different types of evidence on this track, and you're essentially wherever that Jesus Christ, there's evidence.
So Thomas Edison's a character.
Thomas Edison's in it.
It's an expansion.
Wherever it ends up, then it'll either get thrown away because it's on Nixon's side, the Edison's, or it'll go out onto the board, and basically like Nixon's in the middle, and he's trying to connect lines of evidence from people to Nixon. So Nixon's basically trying to shut down a bunch of stuff. And it's like pretty simple, but it's very historical and very cool and really back and forthy and just trying to like outmaneuver each other. And you have these action cards you can play, or the cards you play with, you can play them for their events. And some of the events are great, but then they go away. And so it's very, very fun. It's very interesting. And I did like it a lot. I don't know how much, I don't think I'd ever need to own it. Okay. But I'd be down to play it again for sure.
Okay, cool.
I did
really
like it a
try
lot.
it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was very interesting. Yeah.
Finally, we played Welcome to Dino World, which is a dinosaur-themed roll and write game.
We played this up in the cabin.
Up in the cabin, on our trip and stuff. And this is one we hadn't played in a while and stuff. It's kind of like a more involved roll and write game because you can play like the danger mode, which I highly recommend.
Yeah,
where
it's better.
all of a sudden you're worried about dinosaurs breaking out and stuff, which I had some of that happen. But you're basically using 3 dice on a turn. And a round, you'll play like 8 rounds. And you're using these dice to build pathways and stuff. You're trying to design your park.
Yeah.
You can build pathways, you can build dinosaur pens. Based off the value of the dice you choose, you can choose like more exciting but more dangerous dinosaurs like T-Rexes and things like that. You can assign power generators to keep your patrons, I guess, safe from the dinosaurs breaking out and stuff like that. There's different types of buildings. And then there's all these kind of public objectives and stuff you can kind of claim. So you basically to have your park in a certain way to be able to claim this objective, have this type of pathway, have these type of dinosaurs in this configuration or whatever it might be. It's just a cool game, man. It's really fun to kind of try to use those dice in such a way to build out your park in the kind of most efficient, maximum scoring wise way, and at the end you score for all your dinosaurs you have and
there's a bunch of visitors that change out each time. You're trying to gain the visitors before your neighbor does. There's like these buildings you can basically put in there that change out each game. So it's just always a little bit different. Yeah, a lot of variability, and it's a good kind of a slightly more involved roll and write, which is great. I would love to see more involved roll and writes. And yeah, it's great. It's dinosaurs. It's cool. You get to draw little dinosaurs. It's awesome. It's awesome, man. I like it. And that is it.
That's our month.
Oh my
what a
Lord.
big month. 50 games.
Month.
That was one of the biggest months we've had recently.
Not as big as next month.
Next month will be bigger.
We'll be a little bigger.
So that is what we got to play. What did you guys play in November?
In November, yeah. Let us know down in the comments below. It was a great month. And a lot of this was prep for our marathon. So again, please go watch that video if you haven't already. But a lot of this was just like us refamiliarizing ourselves with games, trying to play them quickly, practicing. It was just really, really fun. And again, next month, we'll review like 250 games. So I don't
know how we're going to do it.
That's going to be a long video.
It's going to be cool.
But nonetheless, thank you so much. We always want to give, at the end of every Wrap Reviews, we always give a big shout out to our patrons.
Thank you, patrons.
And so we always give a shout out to the new patrons we got in that month. So in November, we got a number of patrons. Thank you again so much for anyone who supports us. If you're interested, check out the link in the description. Go to patreon.com/thebrothersmurph.
Check us out. Help support.
Check us out, and you'll get a shout out during Wrap Reviews. But nonetheless, let me get the picture up here.
Who we got?
So first off, we got Matt Mo.
Matt Mo.
Thank you so much, Matt Mo. We got Jodan. I love Jodan. Jodan's great. We got Mom Gamer. We got Stacy Hampton. We got Ruel. Ruel, the best. We got Raining Tacos. Great name.
Yes.
We got Jimmy Parker. We got Bergny. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong.
We're trying.
Bergny did say, like, good luck. It's very Icelandic. We got Zach Collar and we got Raiden Grey Wolf. I believe that is all of them. Thank you so much, everyone, for supporting us. You know, you don't have to, obviously.
Thanks for jumping on this cuckoo train of ours. You know, we really appreciate it. It really helps us out a lot. We have big plans for 2021, world events pending, but we have good stuff, and all of your support really helps us achieve goals. It's helped us stay full-time for now a full year. All of 2020, we were doing board game stuff full-time, in large part due to our patrons. So
the reason why we were able to take 2 weeks off of work to do this crazy marathon,
literally because of Patreon,
was because of Patreon. Because we're like, well, we're gonna get some money from there so we can float ourselves until we go back to like work. You know, it's like,
so you literally help people make their dreams come true. So if you like what we do and want to see us do even more of it and go bigger, consider supporting our Patreon. We'd appreciate it.
Indeed.
All right.
I think that's going to be it, Mikey.
That's it for us, y'all. We will see you all in the next month where we just, we cover all of them. And then for some reason we kept playing more games.
We played more games in December. We're not through December.
I don't know what the total number is going to be, but it's going to be a lot.
It'll probably be around 220, 230, somewhere in there.
That's a lot of games. So we'll see you there. Thanks for joining us for another Rapid Reviews. Again, put your favorite game that you played in November in the comments below.
Bye,
we'll see y'all. Thanks so much for watching this Rapid Reviews. We hope you enjoyed it. It was rapid. We had to cover a lot of ground, man. We had to cover a lot of ground. If you enjoyed it, check out last month's Rapid Reviews up that way. And then also check out, like we talked about, our marathon video down there. And we've also done our top 100 games of all times recently. So go ahead and subscribe first and then start watching that entire series.
Boom.